not be right for some.
A commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a...
We're gonna turn it on. We're gonna bring in the power. We never thought of finding a place where we belong.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no.
Steve Austin.
Now the world don't move to beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some.
Bad boy, what you want, what you gonna do when you shut the junk
Some of the things they do would cause a person to get hurt, expelled, arrested, possibly deported. To put it another way, don't try this at home.
Welcome to the Mark and Joe Show. We're going to talk, I guess, TV shows and toys from the from our generation.
From our generation, in the 70s. Born in the 60s, right? We grew up in the 70s and 80s and became adults around the 90s, and everything changed.
Yep. Oh yeah, everything changed.
It's kind of interesting how you can just watch things change right in front of your eyeballs. Yeah, it might help if we have the microphone sitting over here. Thank you. Yeah, totally forgot to have that mic. So you think we should do the intro again then? Or you think
Alright, let's do it again. What the hell? Welcome to Mark and Joe Show. We're doing stuff from our generation, like toys and TV shows, cartoons,
TV shows, and toys.
Back when cartoons were good too.
That's back when cartoons were good cartoons.
Saturday morning cartoons was actually a thing back then.
Yes, it was. And all the networks carried it. You had Fox.
Oh, even cable channels carried it.
Yeah, but all the networks.
All the networks. Saturday morning
NBC,
cartoons.
CBS, ABC.
Oh, you're damn right.
You know, PBS actually, they're the ones that were doing Sesame Street,
well,
and
the Electric Company, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
And then they do them kind of.
But here's the thing. So I guess we're doing cartoons. Bring up another thing on cartoons there.
Well, I have to go. Okay, let me go back.
Well, no, just bring up another tab.
Well, I can. It's harder to.
But one of the things, and I honestly believe they should bring it back, is remember between your cartoon lineup during the commercial times between the cartoons and stuff.
Oh yeah.
What was one of your favorite commercials they threw in there between it?
Oh, I don't remember.
My favorite commercial was Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Schoolhouse Rock. You had Conjunction Junction.
I'm just a bill.
I'm just a bill. You had the one that did the counting. And it taught us things. It would literally teach you how to place adverbs and adjectives.
That's probably part of the
nouns
cartoons.
and verbs and all kinds of stuff into sentences and how to make sentences. And it wasn't part of the cartoons, actually. It was more like a commercial in between them all.
I don't know. More like an infomercial, but I think it was meant to be a cartoon.
Well, they drew it up as a cartoon to keep the kids' interest.
Because they lasted, you know.
Oh, that's when the commercial.
But
no, they didn't. No, they didn't. They only lasted about 7-8 minutes at the most. But they were designed to keep a child's interest, to keep the kid's interest.
A cartoon would about 7-8 minutes.
And
some of these cartoons
run like it needed to. and it would teach you, you know, about how a bill becomes a law.
That was my favorite one.
You know,
I'm
not
just a bill.
You know, want to know something?
On Capitol Hill.
Because of that of
They brought
Schoolhouse
that back
Rock.
for a short time too. At one point.
Because of Schoolhouse Rock, I can literally recite the preface to the Constitution of the United States. Because they took the Constitution of the United States, the wordings, and they put it to music.
Well, yeah. It's.
And the only thing they did is, when they did it, it starts out, "We the people," and then in their music thing version of it, it goes, "We the people, in order to form a more perfect union."
Yeah, I remember.
And it's
that.
actually, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure
Whatever.
domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our prosperities. Do ordain and establish the Constitution of the United States."
But see, on Saturday mornings when they did the Saturday morning cartoons, all the commercials were pretty much geared towards kids.
Yeah, they
you
were.
You had Bill
You had
Cosby doing
you had the toy commercials. You had Bill
pudding
Cosby
pops.
doing the pudding. No, he started pudding first, and then
Or
they went to
whatever,
pudding
yeah.
pops.
And then the Slinky commercials where they had the Slinky. Yeah.
What a wonderful toy.
Or the new Nerf toys when they came out. They'd always show the newest toy or the hottest thing as it was coming out.
Yeah, because
Rubik's
they knew
Cube commercials.
they knew that if they got the kids' attentions, that the kids would pester
Sit
their
and
damn
spin.
parents until they fucking
Sit and spin.
the sit and spin. Oh my God, I had one of those too.
The green machine.
The big wheels.
Big
green
wheels.
machine. I had a big wheel. I didn't have a green machine.
But they had a lot of great cartoons back then too.
Yep.
Saturday
we had,
morning cartoons.
You know, you had specific ones, like the first one in your line up here is Jabberjaws.
Jabberjaw. And then you had
And then-
Hong Kong Phooey there with the chick
That's
from
a Scooby-Doo. That's a Scooby-Doo hour.
Right.
That's when you had a
And here you go.
Scooby-Doo hour.
Yeah, and then you used to have a Hanna-Barbera hour,
Yeah.
you know, which had
Yeah,
a lot of these
Hanna-Barbera.
people, you know, Flintstones.
Yeah. Now, the Flintstones,
The Smurfs were
Didn't-
on during my time.
those were the actually 80s. The Smurfs came out
Yeah,
around the
80s.
80s. And then, yeah, they were around in your time. You're not that
Well,
much older than
not
me.
in the 70s, no. Not when I remember like the Saturday morning cartoons.
Remember-
They came in towards the end of the Saturday morning
Remember Monster
cartoon
Squad?
era. Monster Squad.
And you had, Jason. Okay, here you go, Jason the Star Command. Did you ever see that one out here?
Jason Star Command.
And Lassie's Rescue Rangers. That was
Here's
another
what
one.
Saturday mornings looked like too. You had Bugs Bunny,
Yeah.
Captain Caveman, Speed Buggy,
Well, Captain Caveman, and then you had the Justice League.
the Justice League, Captain Marvel or Shazam, whatever you
Shazam.
wanted to call him. I don't know what that one was from.
That, I think, was the Globetrotters.
Yeah, that was the Globetrotters.
Globetrotters cartoon.
Yeah. And they were like superheroes.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Pussycats.
I remember that one. They actually was a spinoff. Josie and the Pussycats were a spinoff of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, it was Scooby-Doo?
Yes, it was. It was Scooby-Doo because when Josie and the Pussycats made their debut in the cartoons, they made a guest appearance on Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. To try to
And then-
get help to solve a mystery.
Uh-huh. Dinky Dog. Oh my
Dinky
God, I
Dog.
remember that one. That one wasn't as popular as the
No,
other, but
no,
I
there's
do
a-
remember that.
That
Ah!
I did it again!
I didn't do nothing.
You leaned up against it. My chair was nowhere near it.
Uh-oh. Get
Well,
up.
gonna have to fix that one again.
Grab that. I had tape on there to keep it from fucking even moving.
Yeah,
I
but you
didn't
pushed
do-
up down here. You
I
backed
didn't.
up a
No,
little
I
bit.
didn't.
Yeah, your shoulder did. I was watching.
Yeah, whatever. Your side came off too. Wow.
It's still all your fault. I'm gonna
Whatever.
make sure people know that one too.
Whatever. Come on. People are gonna laugh at us.
They're laughing at you.
Laughing at you.
See, I don't even have a mouse. It
Then you go.
sucks.
Well, it's not my fault.
Mighty
your,
Mouse.
Your mouse screwed up. Yeah, you got a
You
mouse
got
right there. Right there's a mouse.
Mighty Mouse.
But
Really cartoon
you know, you had the cartoons. You had not just the cartoons, but you also had shows like Jason the Star Command and Arc 2. This one here that I got up on my computer.
Sid and Marty Krofft.
Sid and Marty Crofts, man. You had
Land of
H.R.
the
Puff
Lost.
and stuff. No, the one that is the most
H.R.
known
Puff and stuff.
is Land of the Lost, and then H.R.
H.R.
Puff and stuff. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. That was part of their.
That was part of
stuff, too.
the H.R. Puff and stuff. They had like a whole hour on Saturday mornings.
Mhm.
So it had all of those. The gruesomes.
Gruesomes.
That's from the Flintstones.
Yep, that they spun off from the Flintstones.
Hong Kong Phooey. Underdog.
Underdog. There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. Yep.
There we go,
Scooby-Doo, where are
Scooby-Doo.
you?
And then there was Scrappy
Then
Doo
you had
later.
then short in a short part of it there too. In all these cartoons, you also had, believe it or not, Star Trek, the animated series,
Yeah, Star Trek, the animated series.
and it ran, I think, 3 seasons.
And with that came the...
Nope, I'm corrected. It ran 1 season.
Well, also with that, it came out these books, like comic books, that came to like a 45 or an album. And
No, the album was the storybook, or the story, the audio story of the comic book you
right,
had.
that was a 45. But then they had an album that was like the entire, like, yeah, they had all.
No, when you would buy the comic book, they had
Was
the
it an album?
45 in the back.
right,
That's the 45 album.
right, whatever.
That would actually tell you the story.
Well, yeah, it was
It
telling-
read you the story from
basically,
the book itself.
yeah, and it'd have all their voices on
Yeah,
there, like
it'd
you
have their
know,
voices and stuff in there.
Yeah,
And then He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Remember that?
that was like another one of those hour type shows. That had different
Yeah,
things.
because He-Man spun off She-Ra, the female version of He-Man.
the
and then,
hillbilly,
Hmm?
the hillbilly bears.
The Hillbilly Bears, yeah, I remember them. And then, then you had Shazam, and that was another hour show too, because you had
Super Friends.
Shazam. No, you had Shazam, and then from Shazam went to ISIS.
Yeah, ISIS did have a small animated one too, didn't it?
No, it wasn't
Or no, they weren't
animated. It was
animated.
live
Yeah, but
action.
they weren't part of Saturday morning.
Yes, they were.
Were they?
Yes, they were.
Banana Splits was another
Oh God, I
one of
remember
those.
Banana Splits. That's a Hanna-Barbera.
And the Hair Bear Bunch.
If I'm not mistaken, the Banana
One
Splits
banana, two
is
banana, three banana
is
more.
the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Right, Hair Bear Bunch was part of their show. The Hair Bear Bunch was part of one of the cartoons
Actually-
that the Banana Splits would show.
Was Sigmund and the Sea Monsters part of Banana Splits, or were they part of?
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters was part
Marty
of
and
Sid and Marty Crofts thing.
Okay.
And that was not animated, that was their live,
that
that
was-
was their live fantasy type thing.
Right.
Whatever you wanted to call it.
Live action stuff.
The Jetsons. And He-Man in the Universe and
Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe was part of this one. Space Ghost.
Space Ghost, Coast to Coast.
He had Space Ghost had like an hour or two or something like that because he showed. And then they had this one.
They had the Hercules.
Hercules, yeah, that's right.
Hercules.
Hercules.
Which is this one right here.
Yeah, and that one right there. Because I remember that pink-looking dragon.
Mhm. Wow.
And then you had, hey, hey, hey!
Fat Albert.
It's
That
Fat
was a Cosby-
Albert!
That was a Cosby one too.
Yeah, unfortunately. But it was one of my favorites. I mean, how many times did you probably go running around and going, hey, hey, hey?
I'm sure I did it a few times.
You know, when you was a kid. Or yell, Captain Caveman!
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of, and here you go, Schoolhouse Rock.
The Croft
There it is.
Super Show.
Schoolhouse Rock.
I love
That
I love
was
Schoolhouse
actually
Rock.
a
That was
show
awesome.
that had those. This is a bill. That's where it came. That's where
Yep.
they showed it on
I'm
Schoolhouse
just
Rock.
a bill. Sitting on Capitol Hill.
That's where they showed those. It was on
On
Schoolhouse Rock.
Tarzan. Here you go, right here. Shazam and Isis Hour.
Yeah.
They were on ABC's lineup. You had at 8 o'clock you had the Tom and Jerry,
It's sad we'll never see
Grape Ape,
It's
Mumbly
sad you'll
Show.
never see an ISIS one though.
Nope. Thanks to those assholes over in the Middle East taking on that.
That's
name.
all, folks.
And then at 9 o'clock you had Jabberjaw. And then at 9:30 was Scooby-Doo and Dynamite Hour.
Scooby-Doo and Dynamite. I
And
remember
then at
Dynamite.
10:30 was the Croft Super Show.
Right. Sid and Marty Croft Super
Sid
Show.
and Murray Croft Super Show.
Which had, which basically would show Land of the Lost and all of their other inventions and creations.
Damn it. I was trying to.
And they were some pretty trippy fucking. They were like the weirdest fucking things on Saturday mornings. That whole Super Show. I mean, you look back on it now, and it looks like everybody was like on some acid trip. That it was created for people that were on an acid trip, you know,
Yeah.
because of all the bright
video here,
colors
they're all-
and the glitter.
They're
and,
walking into Los Angeles on the video. You can't see it up there because it's not on that.
Right, but still.
It's the opening intro.
But that's something kids will never have anymore.
No.
Is great cartoons on a Saturday morning. Because it's all about
Yeah.
making a big mighty buck now. This doesn't even fit.
What? That's shows. That's shows, not cartoons.
I know, but I'm saying that doesn't fit to the show part of this.
Oh, the 70s show? Yeah, I know. And then on CBS, you had Sylvester and Tweety
Sylvester and Tweety.
at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then 8:30 was Bugs Bunny Roadrunner. And then 9:30, that was a whole hour. And then 9:30 was Tarzan. Then 10 o'clock was Shazam and Isis. And then 11 o'clock was Arc 2. And then 11:30, Clue Club.
Were you looking at this now? I see the site you're on.
Oh, MeTV? Yeah, I don't know. I was checking out this, just clicked on it and it took me to these. And then on NBC you had Woody Woodpecker at 8 a.m. And then the Pink Panther at 8:30. Macduff the Talking Dog at 10. Monster Squad at 10:30. And then here you had Land of the Lost at 11 o'clock. And then Big John, Little John at 11:30. That was back in our time, man. It's the kind of stuff that we grew up on. And I didn't watch just one channel. I watched what I liked of each channel. You know, I picked what I wanted to see and watched it. But yeah, it was pretty fucking cool, man. I loved it. I miss the cartoons of our era. Now you watch cartoons and some of them don't
I
even
can't
make
find
sense.
what you were talking, where you found that one.
I don't know. It was a link I clicked on and it took me over to it. So, yeah,
But I know
keep an extra.
MeTV. I know MeTV is one of those classic sites because
Mhm.
I found that channel up here to watch some of these old shows from back then, the TV shows and stuff from back then.
And
are
then you
on
had
there once in a
Batman
while.
and Robin.
The Adam West Batman.
Adam West,
Robin.
Batman and Robin.
Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yep.
Burgess Meredith was Penguin.
Burgess Meredith. Yep. What about Gilligan's Island?
Gilligan's Island. Oh my God! How long did you debate whether or not? Oh, this is the time they're gonna finally get off the island. They gotta watch that episode, and it didn't
It
happen.
never happened. Boy, that one went a long ass time.
Are they ever gonna get off that island? And how did you know?
And they finally did get off the
But
island.
all these people that come on the island and they never get off.
No, wait a minute. All the people that come onto the island get off the island,
Except
but
them.
they never do.
That's what I'm saying. You know, they get off.
Something
all
happens
these
that
change-
they never
well,
get off the
Most
island.
of the time, it was Gilligan's fault.
Most of the time, yes. Something Gilligan did. So,
Or how about the
you would
time
think-
that
you would
they
think-
actually did get rescued? Did you ever see that? It was made like a TV mini movie for the
Yeah,
show.
they did get rescued,
They got
but then they
rescued?
went back and started a resort on the island.
And they went back and or they took a cruise and ended up, or something. They
No,
took
they-
another they decided to take another cruise. And
They
they ended
actually-
up stranded back on the same island again. Did you ever see that one?
I don't.
They got rescued, and they made it back to civilization, and then it's like the skipper and Gilligan were building the boat and were repairing a boat or got a new one, and they wanted to take an anniversary tour again with their friends that.
The people they would spend
So,
their
so
lifetime
they got the
on.
professor, Mary Ann, Ginger, and the Howells all get back on the boat with them, and it pretty much they ended up
They end up
stranded.
back in.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
they
we're
did-
not lost. I know where we are. Look, we're home. Says Gilligan.
Yeah. But you remember, they did actually get off of the island, and then they went back and made a resort on the
Yeah, and
island.
that was like a sequel that didn't last very long, like a spin-off of Gilligan's Island that didn't last very long. There was some of those that didn't, you know.
Oh. How about the Jackson 5 and the Osmond brothers?
I never watched that.
and the
I did
Brady
remember
kids?
watching. See, that stuff wasn't. You know, some of that wasn't. If it was on, I might have watched it.
Yeah, I don't know. Then Buck Rogers in the 24th century.
Popeye, you just passed Popeye.
Yeah, Popeye was one of them that was in there.
Yeah, Buck Rogers.
My computer's a little slow.
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff. I always wanted to order the stuff from Acme. Everything that Wile E. Coyote got. But then you got Muppets started being famous, so you had the Muppet Show on Saturday mornings.
These,
and
I
they
think, are
started
from
putting
the
that in
80s,
prime
actually.
time.
These that they're showing here, I think, are from the 80s.
Yeah, some of it.
There's Jane of the Jungle,
Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear, and Godzilla, and then you had
The Fantastic Four.
And that was CBS, I think. Or no, NBC. And that was 1978. I guess it is from the 70s.
Yeah, but it went into the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those did.
That was Yogi Space Race. And then in 79, you got the God, I can't even think. My brain's fried. You got
There's
the
a
Wonder,
picture from that. Oh,
the Super Friends.
I hate this.
When it does that,
Yes, they don't know where it went. Dude, now
that's why I open a second window, dude. I always open a second window. When I click on something here, I always right click and second window it.
I was gonna say, there's your animated Star Trek.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? He does the one kind of does look, but he doesn't look like William Shatner.
That was William Shatner.
I
That
know,
was
but he
Spock.
doesn't look like William Shatner. He does kind of look like McCoy.
Yeah.
Not so much like Scotty. She does look like, those two look like who they're supposed to be.
And that's Nurse, what was her name? Nurse, God, I can't remember.
The head nurse.
She was the
under
head nurse
McCoy.
under McCoy, but she had her name too.
Yeah, she was on there for a while.
Yeah. Then you had
That looks like the Beatles.
Bug Music.
Bug Music. But yeah, but that wasn't the Flintstones Beatles. This is Speed Buggy.
Speed Buggy.
Yeah, I can tell that was Speed Buggy.
HR Puff and stuff over in the corner there. Now, I remember this one. This is actually an anime. It's called Gatchman. In Japan, it's called Gatchman. In the United States, when it aired, they called it G-Force.
I remember that it is G-Force. I knew I recognized it. I was just I couldn't think of what it was, but I remember that one.
Yep.
Now that you said G-Force. See, this thing's so touchy.
Not my fault. It's because every time you touch it with your finger.
Saturday mornings was fun. TV was fun back then too. TV shows weren't a bunch of. Oh, here's one that was on Saturday morning. One of my favorites. Speed Racer.
Mm-hmm. That was also the one that started out as an anime.
Speed Racer was there for. Oh my God.
Hey.
That's one that I never missed.
Give it a try. Is it working? Click.
Okay.
There you go.
It's sensitive and shuts itself off to save.
No, it shut
batteries.
off because I unplugged it from here and plugged it in over there.
Woody Woodpecker,
Mm-hmm.
Tom and Jerry. Can't forget those two. This wasn't until the 80s, I don't believe. Animaniacs.
No, that they were like
Or
late
maybe
80s,
close-
early 90s.
90s. I was just gonna say maybe 90s.
Mighty Mouse.
There's your Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
Yep, he had Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. Who was that kid?
If I'm not
I think,
mistaken,
if I
that was
remember
a
right, he went on to become someone famous, actually.
Well, no, I think that was also the same kid that was in Family Affairs, what it was.
Casper, remember Casper?
Casper the Ghost.
Johnny Quest. You remember Johnny Quest?
Yep.
Yep.
Johnny Quest was part of the.
But you know, we mentioned the Flintstones and we didn't even mention the Jetsons.
I did. You weren't
Did you?
paying attention.
Whatever.
The Johnny Quest was part of one of those. Was part of that Space Ghost hour,
Yeah, it
hour
was.
show.
Yeah, I believe it was.
It was. I know it was. I remember watching those. Gumby.
Yeah, Gumby.
Gumby.
I can't remember which channel it was on.
Flash Gordon
Yeah,
was actually a cartoon back then too. There's Johnny Quest.
yeah. Danger Mouse.
Bozo, but Bozo was a week on every day of the week.
And Bozo was Chicago. It was in the Chicago area. It was on WGN. Not a lot of people got WGN out in
And
Cali.
then you had the Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm. I love the Looney Tunes.
You are a Looney Tune. I like the
No
Tiny,
more than you.
I like the Tiny Tunes.
Tiny Toons Adventures. Plucky. Plucky go down the
Plucky
hole.
Again and again.
You push the button again and again and
But
again.
then we had some good TV shows of the 70s.
Oh yeah, I know we
too.
do. I had real good TV shows of the 70s.
Not like nowadays.
Oh man, we miss this shit. I miss this stuff.
Watching some of them higher channels on our cable system around here, there's where, like I said, MeTV's there somewheres, and then there's the like Heroes and Icons, I think the channel's called, or something like that. You can find shows like Renegade on there, Hill Street Blues on that one. I've seen Mork and Mindy on MeTV. Welcome Back,
I gotta
Carter.
find MeTV.
I told you it's like in the 170s range.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Welcome Back, Carter on there.
Welcome Back, Carter.
Ooh, Mr. Carter.
Mr. Carter.
Happy Days.
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
Days again.
I
Alf.
love Happy Days.
Alf, Alien
Alf.
Life Form.
Yep, Alf was cool shit.
Starsky and Hutch.
Okay, here's Three's Company.
Three's a Company.
Why is that 70s show in there? It's not. It's not.
I don't
from
know.
the 70s.
It's not.
They shouldn't have it in there. It's fucking
Charlie's
modern
Angels?
shit. Oh yeah, Charlie. Okay, tell me, you did not have a crush on the Angels.
Oh yeah. Who didn't have a crush on Farrah Fawcett after that
Oh
poster
my
came out?
God.
Or Cheryl Ladd.
Cheryl Ladd, Farrah Fawcett. Oh yeah, everybody had a crush on.
And then you
on-
get WKRP in Cincinnati. Everybody was wooing over Lonnie Anderson in that one.
Yep.
But yeah, Charlie's Angels was like
So,
something
but
else.
now when you after
After
School. and everything, was your mom one of those that liked to watch Dallas Falcon Crest,
Yeah, but
Knots Landing?
but see,
And
I got lucky.
Did you have to
because-
watch those with
No, I got lucky at an early, somewhere along the lines, because my parents divorced. I don't know what it was, but my dad bought me and my brother a couple of, those little 12, 13 inch or whatever they were TV, just the little tiny ones. They weren't very big, but yeah.
Little black and
Oh,
white bitches?
Yeah, but we had them in our rooms and nobody else did. None of our friends did, so we didn't have to watch them, We got to watch whatever we wanted, so. And no, I hated Dallas. I didn't want to know who shot JR either, I didn't watch those shows. I watched WKRP in Cincinnati. I watched Three's a Company because, I don't know why. I mean, maybe it was the women. Maybe it was because it was funny. Maybe it was because everybody thought that John Ritter was gay. Or the one guy did, at least, the landlord, Mr. Roper.
Susan Sarandon. Chrissy.
Susan
Not
Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
No.
Susan Summers. Sorry.
Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers.
I was going to say
No, I had the name wrong. Excuse me. I had the name
Sarandon
wrong.
is a movie star.
Yes, she is. But
A very good movie
I
star.
met Suzanne Summers.
I know.
She was Chrissy.
Chrissy.
And then the one that played Janet was
Joyce DeWitt.
Joyce DeWitt. No. She kind of looked like who's the one that was that Dudley Moore was always hanging with.
Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli. She kind of looks like Liza Minnelli in a way.
That was a good movie too. That you're thinking about. That was Arthur.
And that was from our time too. In the
Yeah,
80s.
Arthur. It had some good music. Well, a lot of good. Well, I mean, come on. If you ever watched these shows like WKRP in Cincinnati or Welcome Back, Carter, you knew the lyrics to those theme songs by heart.
How about
Bewitched,
How about Mr. Magoo?
Mr. Magoo. Oh my God.
Oh my God, you did it again.
And the voice of the old cartoon Mr. Magoo was the same guy that played Mr. Howell on Gilligan's
Yep.
Island.
Yep.
That was a good one. They always, oh my God! And you wonder how he actually, being as blind as bad as Mr. Magoo was, it was a wonder he
Was able to do anything?
made it alive after the end of some of those.
No, I know.
Yeah, that was a short-lived cartoon too.
Which one?
The Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. I don't remember when that one came out though.
Probably
here's-
not to the 80s.
Here's one that didn't get a lot of fame from it.
Electra Woman and
Dinah
Dinah Girl. That was another Sid and Marty Krofft.
Yeah.
Sid and Marty Krofft didn't get the recognition that they deserved back then.
No, I don't think they did.
I think they were too far ahead of their time as far as their ideas go.
And then we had
Like if they had a little bit better technology to do the stuff that they were doing.
Yabble Dabble. It's Genie and Babu.
Right. I remember
Remember
those.
that was the I Dream of Genie cartoon and
Right.
Babu.
But Sid and Marty Krofft, I don't think got the recognition they deserved because I don't think they quite had the technology. Because a lot of their stuff, when you looked at it, it kind of looked cheesy.
It did.
I mean, you could tell they were. You could easily tell that a lot of the costumes were costumes,
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they had a little bit more access to CGI and was able to do it differently nowadays, and redo all of those shows over, I think they'd be a lot cooler and a lot better, and probably
Wonderbug.
get better ratings. But that doesn't mean Hollywood needs to go and redo that, because you can't redo Sid and Marty Krofft without Sid and Marty Krofft.
No, well, actually you can,
Yeah, but you know how they
but
redo
you gotta
things.
follow what Sid and Marty Krofft did.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said.
You gotta stick to
They're gonna
what they did.
somebody else that, I mean, maybe some of their sons or daughters maybe revamping it or something like that, but you can't, you know how Hollywood needs new actors or new directors
know.
or producers, they always
I
like
know.
to add their own little shit to it, and you can't do that. Wonderbug.
Wonderbug and Speed Buggy.
I watched both of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool as hell. I always wanted,
But
I
here we are.
always wanted a Doom Buggy.
Here we are talking about Sid and Marty Krofft, how great they are and everything. And the shows that they produced, how great those shows were, which were true. I mean, they were freaking just absolute
Well, they didn't get
awesome
they
shows.
didn't get the recognition that they deserved.
And there's one person who started up a company and did similar to Sid and Marty Krofft, only they didn't have the people inside the costumes.
Who's that?
They had the costumes on their hands and the wires going to them.
Oh, Jim Henson and the Muppets.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
You got to give him props.
Oh yeah.
that man.
Well, he did a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
did
is the
Sesame
one that
Street.
did Sesame Street,
he did Sesame Street. Then you had the Muppet Show,
then the Muppet Show.
and then the Muppet Show spun off into Muppet Movies.
Mm-hmm. You got Muppet Movies,
Oh, and then you had the Muppet Babies, which was a cartoon.
Which was a cartoon.
That's what I said.
But you also had movies that were done using his technology too.
What?
Labyrinth, one of the greatest movies made in the 80s. Had
Didn't Neverending Story also have
I think he did. I think he was part of that too.
the flying dragon thing and some of those other creatures?
The rock
the
monsters,
rock
and stuff like
monster. Oh, and Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle-
from the
oh, God,
80s.
yes, Fraggle
That was
Rock.
a Jim Henson
that.
creation.
Yes, it was. I actually have the first season on DVD.
I think I bought
But yeah,
that
Fraggle Rock, I loved it. That was one of my favorites, and that one premiered on HBO.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, you had to have HBO in order to watch that.
right.
That's
But-
why every Saturday I talked
My
my mom
daughter-
into taking me over to my sister's so I could sit there and watch HBO.
My
Because
oldest
my brother-in-law was a
Loved
cable
that
man.
show. My oldest loved that
My
show.
brother-in-law was a cable man. He got his cable for free, and I spent the Saturday mornings at my sister's house so I could watch fucking
Fraggle
Rock.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My
Jim
daughter loved-
Henson, man, you cannot.
He was a
He was a genius.
mastermind
He was a fucking genius.
of
And if with mentioning all this, that is one person we
Puppeteers.
cannot mention. But
well, he had also Hanna-Barbera.
well, yeah,
And
Hanna
yeah.
Barbera was great too. But I'm talking about the fact that he did all these puppets.
Oh yeah, well see,
You know.
his puppets.
And he did now Labyrinth, the one I was telling you
See,
about
now,
Labyrinth.
if Sid and Marty
That had-
Kraft would have had a little bit better technology,
They had
could
Jennifer
have been up
Connelly
there
in it.
like Jim.
Oh yeah, they
I
could
mean,
have
Jim
been
Henson's
like Jim
still
Henson.
doing. Well, his company.
His
still-
company is.
still doing a lot of stuff, and it's not just the Muppets anymore. It stopped being just the Muppets a long time ago.
Yeah, because they're doing
Because the
they're doing
Muppets
the
took
stuff.
off after Sesame. They got Sesame Street gets popular, then they do the Muppet shows,
Then they
and
do the
that
Muppet
takes
Show. The
off.
Muppet Show took
I mean,
off.
I love those old
it
guys
went-
that were always
Oh, I
up in
know.
the balcony criticizing the show.
Yep.
You know, and then you see them because of all the star power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would show
Oh,
up. on
they'd
the
always
Muppet
have
Show.
stars
You
on
know,
there.
they had Kenny
and-
Rogers. They had Wonder Woman on there.
Yeah.
They had all these big
Carter.
names from the era. You know, and they
Liza
always
Minnelli
become-
actually
they-
made
yep.
an appearance on
They
there
all
too.
they all become part of the show too, and it was so cool that
In
they
fact,
ended up making all
I
this
think-
other stuff.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Dudley Moore made an appearance on the
Dudley
Muppet
Moore, I
Show.
think, made more than one appearance, if I'm not mistaken. You know, there was quite a few people that made a lot.
Several appearances.
You know,
on the-
we should
on
look
the
it up.
Muppet
I'll look it up. You keep talking, I'll look it up.
Show. And then you
I
had
want to find out who holds the
well,
record.
so in talking about the Jim Henson and everything and Labyrinth, yes, I always go back to Labyrinth because I love that movie. It was freaking awesome. It was one of the best. Yeah, Jennifer Connelly, and that was where she kind of got her start in movies. And then you had a great singer who was in it, who played the Goblin King, and that was David Bowie. And he did an awesome job. And then also you have The Dark Crystal, which also was a Jim Henson production. And The Dark Crystal was an awesome movie. And I love the Jim Henson movies. The ones that his characters and everything are in are just awesome. And the way that they put them together, I mean, you can't go wrong. But Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. That's another one that was on here. But yeah, I truly miss that era of growing up. I miss growing up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, TV was great.
That's when TV was good. That's when we had a lot of fun stuff. Huh. How about this one? Do you remember this one? The Lost Saucer? Or Far Out Space Nuts?
Fire Out Space Nuts, I remember that one.
The Lost Saucer was kind of a run on Lost in Space, and it starred Jim Nabors and Ruth Buzzy. But yeah, I loved The Land of the Lost. That was an awesome show. HR Puff and stuff, man. You know, you always worked on the kids' imagination. That was the thing about Sid and Marty Krofft. They always worked on the kids' imaginations. And then that's what Jim Henson did. He took it to the next level with the Muppets by working on the kids' imagination. What are you looking up?
I am trying to find out. And it's not telling me anywhere.
Trying to find out what, how long the Muppet Show ran and the guest stars that were on it.
Oh, I can tell you the guest stars. I can find those lists.
Well, anyway. You know, I forgot to turn that damn TV off. We're going to have that overlapped all over this. Raging in the media. Yeah, the Muppet Show ran from 76 to 81.
Yeah, and they had 122 different guest stars.
Hang on, I'm gonna. You do that thing real quick. I'm gonna go use the bathroom quick and turn the TV off.
There were, on the 5 years of Muppet Show, there were 31 movie stars, 23 TV stars, 14 pop and rock singers, 11 country singers, 8 comedians, 6 Broadway stars, 5 musicians, 3 dancers, 3 folk singers, 3 jazz singers, 3 models, 2 mime troops, 2 R&B singers, 2 stage show stars, 2 ventriloquists, 1 calypso singer, 1 magician, 1 opera singer, and 1 TV writer. Wow. They had everybody. Country singers included Johnny Cash, Roy Clark, Rita Coolidge, Mac Davis, John Denver, Crystal Gale, Chris Christopherson, Loretta Lynn, Roger Miller, Anne Murray, Kenny Rogers. Broadway stars were Carol Channing, Joel Grey, Ethel Merman, Bernadette Peters, movie stars: Julie Andrews, Mark Hamill, and the cast of Star Wars were on in the entire on.
Sorry
one
about
show.
that. Technical difficulties. I'm on meds that make me piss like a horse. Yeah, it ran from 76 to 81.
Yeah, and they had quite a few TV stars. Where there was 23 of them.
Yeah, movie stars too.
Carol Burnett was on there. Ruth Buzzy, Linda
Yep.
Carter, Sandy Duncan, Valerie Harper, Florence Henderson, Don Knotts, Harvey Korman, Cheryl Ladd, Linda Lavin, Horace Leachman, Hal Linden from Barney Miller, Jim Neighbors,
Yep.
Gomer Pyle,
Yep.
Gilda Radner. Oh my God, I loved her on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, she was awesome, man. Gilda Radner was awesome.
And that's part of the 70s.
You know, Bill Murray was on there too, wasn't he?
He'd be under probably comedians.
Yeah, I think he was on there too.
Let's see.
Martin Short, I think, was on there as well.
John Cleese. Don
Yeah.
DeLuise.
Some of these guys actually got their start.
Christopher Reeve, Lynn Redgrave, Vincent Price.
Mm,
I think he was on one of their Halloween episodes.
could be.
I mean, think about what he's famous for.
Oh, I know. He was famous for his voice and also for Pit and the Pendulum
No.
movies.
I don't see his name on this list. This is
Really?
a master list of all the guest stars that's ever been on the
Interesting.
Comedians included Phyllis Diller, Milton Berle, George Burns, Bob Hope, Rich Little, Steve Martin, Spike Milligan, and Avery Schreiber.
Avery Schreiber. I am
And he's
surprised. I
not,
thought
and
Bill
he
Murray
wasn't
was on
under
there too.
movie stars or TV stars on this list. Interesting.
But I love the Muppet Show, man. I tried my damnedest to make sure I had access to a TV or to the TV so I could watch the Muppet Show. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, and then they got so popular, they ended up in prime time.
Yes, they did.
During the week and off the Saturday morning circuit. Then you had things like Who's the Boss?
Now you're getting into the 80s.
Wow. St. Elsewhere was from the 80s. Elf was from the 80s. Get to the early 80s, it's still part of it. The Dukes of Hazzard started in the late 70s and went into the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Now the star of that show was...
Well, yeah. Well, there were several stars of that show.
What do you think the main star was?
Oh, the main star was Daisy Duke.
No. You know what the main star was that people watched it? The reason they watched that show the most wasn't really for Daisy Duke. It wasn't
that
for
car.
Bo Duke, and
It's
it
for
wasn't
that
for
car.
Luke Duke. It was the fucking car that was the star of that show. Now, there was only one other show that I can think of.
I can honestly say I had one of those cars. Didn't look like that, but I had one
A
of those
Dodge
cars.
Charger.
I had a Charger 500 at one time in
Now,
life.
there was another show where the car overtook the spotlight over the stars that were actually in it.
One other show,
Yeah. What do you think that was?
Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you want a talking fucking car
That could drive itself.
that could drive
Oh,
itself?
hell yeah.
Turbo speed, jump this, indestructible to boot.
Yeah, he's supposed to be indestructible.
Yeah. Bulletproof.
You know, they tried to revamp that, and they made.
They couldn't do it.
No, they did. They did a couple of little things on it.
Kit versus car.
Well, you had car.
Knight Rider 2000, wasn't it called?
Now, Kit was the Knight Industry 2000, and Car was the Knight Activated Roving Robot.
Yeah, but wasn't the reboot called Knight Rider 2000?
I don't
Or some
remember what the
shit like
reboot
that.
actually was, but they didn't go with the Camaro. They went with the fucking Ford Mustang.
Or, I was just gonna say they went with a Mustang, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
No. And they didn't have.
Put pigs in space.
They didn't have Hasselhoff either.
No, they didn't. It was actually the pilot episode did feature, I think, Hasselhoff and his character.
Wasn't Pigs in Space? I just
to
heard
pass
you
it
mention
on.
Pigs in
But
Space.
yeah,
That's a
I'm reading
Muppet
this.
Show
It's
thing.
a Muppet Show. It's a parody,
Parody
of Star Trek.
I was just gonna say, wasn't that like a parody of Star Trek? I mean,
Yes.
that one pig
And I
had
love
blonde
pigs.
hair.
I love
That one
pigs
pig
in
that had
space,
blonde
man.
hair, he actually kind of talked like Shatner was
Yeah.
talked in the movie. Well,
Yeah.
Shatner was such a bad actor in the first place. All he can get nowadays is commercials.
Hey, wasn't Shatner part of the Muppet Show too?
No, he didn't make. No, I didn't see his name. What's happening? Hey. Rerun? That was a show.
Yeah. Time Tunnel.
Time Tunnel. That was a fucked up show.
They actually, Mike Myers did a parody of that in
SNL?
No, in his movies.
Oh,
The Austin Powers movies.
Austin Power movies.
Yeah.
In
fact, it was the second movie.
Barney Miller was a good show from back then.
Barney Miller was a really good show back then.
Good times.
Yeah, Kodak, Kojak and Columbo in that times.
Fish.
Fish.
Abe Vigoda is Fish. There was more references to that character than any other, I think, for quite a long time. Other movies and stuff, you know, they made references back, and he was used so in. Oh my God. Family Affair. Mork and Mindy was one of my favorites.
I loved Mork and Mindy.
I liked Robin Williams, period. I mean,
Robin
anything he did was pretty much a success.
The funny thing is, a lot of what he did on Mork and Mindy was ad-libbed.
Oh, I believe it.
No, it was.
He was a genius.
It was.
He was a comic genius.
A lot of stuff. They had a script written for him, but a lot of the shit that he did, he had lived because he was so fucking high at the time that he was doing that show.
Do you know what the story is? Why they created Mork to begin with?
Not completely, but I know he made an appearance
on Happy Days. We know that.
On Happy Days.
Do you know why? Because they were running out of ideas and adversaries for the great Fonzarelli.
Mm.
So what? To test, you know, who could hit a jukebox and just make it start playing songs, or snap his fingers and have 100 chicks right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they made him seem like he had supernatural type powers in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, who are we going to get that can, you know, match up to the Fonzie like that? Well, we're going to get a goofy, fucked up alien from outer space that lands here in a fucking giant egg. You know, and they worshipped eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, how goofy was that?
And then not just
but
that.
what
not just
an
that.
actor
Hang
to
on.
pick for
Hang
Mork,
on.
though.
Not just that. Do you remember Mork and Mindy's when they later on in the series when they had a child?
Oh, yeah, they aged
backwards.
And it was
it was
the guy that did the Cheetos commercials back then. Son of a bitch.
I can't remember the guy's name.
Dude.
Jonathan Winters.
Yeah, Jonathan Winters. He did all of those famous Cheeto commercials back then too. That was fucking
Jonathan
hilarious.
Winters that hatched out of the egg. And the funny thing is,
And he was an
Mork was
old
the one
man.
that laid the egg. So their kid, their child was old because their species, Mork species, ages backwards.
That's why they worship the egg, because that's where they end up getting to.
Oh man!
But it was. I mean, they couldn't have picked a better person for that though either.
To play Mork.
To play Mork.
Oh, I know, he was awesome, man.
And then you had Mash.
And he is one of the greats that is seriously missed. And then another show from the 70s that I actually liked, MASH.
MASH. Oh,
that one took something that was very, very serious.
The Korean conflict.
And put comedy into it.
Right there.
Yeah, there was some comedy put into it as well. But it was freaking awesome.
That guy right there.
That sounds like the tornado siren.
All I know is this guy right here, Alan Alda.
Uh-oh.
And the guy that played Klinger.
We're checking, people. It sounds like the tornado siren might be going off right now.
Alan Alda and
Jamie Farr played
Jamie
Klinger.
Farr, who played Klinger, were the technical consultants, because out of that entire crew that ended up on the TV show, because not everybody
Not
from the movie.
No, not everybody from the movie. In fact, I don't even know if anybody from the movie actually made it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Radar
the one
and
that played
Father
Radar.
Mulcahy.
Those are the only two?
I believe so, and Klinger maybe. But anyway, I can't remember. I used to know that, but
Yeah.
I mean, I used to know the answer to that question. But anyway, this also spun off a TV series as well, besides after MASH, called Trapper John, MD.
Trapper John MD. Okay, seriously.
Yeah, when Trapper John...
When Trapper came back to the States.
Yeah, when he left the States, he opened up his own practice. It wasn't the same actor that played Trapper John on MASH, but the TV series was called Trapper John MD. and it was a spin-off of this. Because during that series, you'd see visits from like Hawkeye, and you know,
I never really realized that.
Colonel Potter, you know, and so on and so forth. You know, they
How
make
about
surprise visits.
Quincy Jones?
Well, let me get back to this.
No,
All right, out
said him
of
being
the
an
entire
artist,
cast,
mm-hmm.
it was just Jamie Farr and Alan Alda that actually were in the Korean conflict. So they
Wow.
served. So they served as technical consultants
For the show.
for the show as well, to make sure it was as realistic as possible. And that's why MASH had such a huge, huge following and huge fucking record-breaking run.
Yeah,
During
because-
its time, it was a record breaker.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And when it finally aired its final episode, which was called Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, and everybody got to go home and it was all over with,
Mhm.
that was the most watched episode of anything on TV at the time.
Yep.
And it's also it was also for the longest time one of the hardest things to find on VHS when and DVD when DVD first came
Nothing?
out.
That's weird.
What was it? Oh, it could have just been a test siren, or it could have accidentally gone off. This
I
is
don't know.
Wisconsin, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's just weird.
But
I heard it. She heard it.
Quincy.
Yeah, Quincy Jones. He was
No,
a medical.
Quincy. It was Quincy. It was Jack Klugman. He played Quincy M.D. and I can't remember what his first name was. But
He was a medical examiner.
Quincy was his last name.
Yeah, he was a medical examiner.
A medical
I used to
examiner
watch that all the time.
that kind of turned private investigator, because
In a
if
way,
something
yeah.
wasn't right,
He would actually investigate it.
go and start investigating and asking questions like he was a cop, so to speak, to try to solve it and get the correct answers. But he was in another famous show before that with Tony Randall called The Odd Couple.
Yeah.
Used to watch that, but not as much as Quincy.
And The Odd Couples is the one is the show that Grumpy Old Men's based off of,
Yeah, but they've also got a movie that they
which
made a
was The
movie.
Odd Couple with Jack Lemmon and,
Right.
and Walter Matthau.
Then you had All in the Family,
Hmm.
Meathead.
Have you seen the new? What is that called now? No, it wasn't All in the Family. It's
This one right here. This one right here, One Day at a Time.
yeah, One Day at a Time. They made
That's a
they
Netflix
redid
series.
this
It's a
for
Netflix,
Netflix,
original
and
series.
it's really good.
I haven't got around to it
Oh,
yet, but I
it
used to watch
is
this one.
really good.
I used to watch the original One Day at a Time.
Oh yeah,
because
so did I.
It had I can't remember all of those people.
That was Schneider.
Valerie Bertinelli
Valerie Bertinelli is this one right here.
and
And Valerie Bertinelli is the one that everybody had a crush on.
the other one's related to Wilson the one from that Wilson Phillips band.
One from the Wilson Phillips band.
The
Just look them up. Good times. Now, here's one that you should remember.
she's related from somebody in this.
The Love Boat.
The Love Boat.
And what came on after the Love Boat?
Fancy Island.
Fancy Island.
The plane.
My mom used to watch that all the time too.
Valerie Bertinelli, and that one is related to her, and it's what was it?
Just look up the fucking names. There's the cast. That's all you gotta do.
There we go. Gotta get the right one. It ran from 75 to 84. One day at a time. Valerie Bertinelli, Bonnie Franklin was mom, Mackenzie Phillips.
Mackenzie Phillips.
Mackenzie Phillips. And then the guy was Pat Harrington. Mom was Bonnie Franklin. And then you had the Facts of Life.
Yep.
Webster.
Cosby Show.
Webster.
Webster. What you talking about, Wills?
Um,
No, that was Facts of Life.
no,
No, it wasn't.
that was Different Strokes
Different Strokes.
with Gary
Arnold.
Coleman.
Arnold and Willis.
Yeah,
What you talking about, Willis?
yeah. And then the chick from that, yeah, committed suicide or something.
She overdosed.
Yeah, basically. But I haven't seen that new one at a time yet. I've seen
Valerie
it,
Bertinelli went off and married John Bon Jovi,
And then you had the $6 Million Man.
and that spun off.
We can rebuild him.
And that spun off.
We
the
have
$6
the
Million
technology.
Woman,
We
or
can
the
make him
Bionic
better,
Woman.
stronger, faster. Yeah, the Bionic Woman. Oh,
Mhm.
who did not like her?
Lindsay Wagner.
Who did not like Lindsay Wagner back then?
Dude, all those chicks back then, everybody had. All those boys
even
had crushes
ISIS.
on 'em. I can't remember who the chick is that played Isis.
Then you had John Travolta's big TV appearance in Welcome Back, Kotta.
Yeah, John Travolta. Welcome back, Carter. Mr. Carter.
There's a lot of them. Oh, speaking of the Bionic duo, there they are.
Yeah. Well, bring
Probably
it up. You got
fun.
it up. You got it up here. Bring it up.
Chips, can't forget that one either.
Yeah, I can. After what Hollywood did to it, yeah, I can.
Yeah, those two. That was probably from one of the
movies. The
crossover
actually-
shows.
That was it was People Magazine.
Was it?
Look, right there.
Oh yeah.
It's funny.
But
I know.
we got to
I
talk
don't,
about this.
I don't like what
It was
Hollywood
part of our
did to
past,
it. I
but
don't
what
like what
Hollywood did to it sucked. I get it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now.
They can't redo
The
these
producer
things.
and director and rewriter of the Chips that made it into a movie, they need to be castrated
Well, same
for
goes
what
for
they
the one
did.
that
For what
with
they
the-
did to Chips. And I will also say this as well: the ones that did 21 Jump Street
need to be
as a
shot
remake,
too.
the writer, producers, and director of that needs to be castrated. Those motherfuckers ain't got the balls to fucking go back and do what they need to do for these shows. This particular show, if they would have
That
done
was
this
a
show
great
in
classic.
a movie, they would have made this show into a movie the way it should have been made into a movie
They would have casted it right.
and casted it right, it would have been awesome.
A blockbuster.
Same way with 21 Jump Street.
Street.
21 Jump Street did so much
Oh yeah, because there was a lesson to learn.
and there was lessons
There
every
was
damn
lessons
show.
to be learned with Chips and,
And-
21
and
Jump
they
Street. At
brought-
the end of every show, there was always a lesson.
And it also brought a lot of 21 Jump Street also brought a lot of movie stars, with a lot of stars into our.
Well, yeah, it
Which are
brought a lot of
next.
stars into our thing, but at the end of 21 Jump Street, a lot of those episodes, some of them, especially the very, very important one, the cast would appear at the end of the show before it was over, and they'd give a little spew
Yeah.
with a number, like a 1-800 number or something.
Yeah.
Because it was always like bullying and this and, you know, all
Yes.
that kind of stuff. There was sexual abuse, child abuse. They covered so much. Different topics, you know, gay rights. When the kid was dying of AIDS, and Hanson had to go sit there and sit with him and babysit him because he was being reckless, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the school, and they had to protect him because he was also, you know, getting threats because, you know, the laws were keeping him from, you know, they were trying to keep him from going to school, but the laws protected him, so said he could go to school. So, but angry parents were trying to outlash against this kid and his family.
Yeah, which is wrong.
Right. Well, that was part of. Oh, here's a show, the Donnie and Osmond,
Osmond Show. The Osmond Show, Donnie Marie.
Me. Yeah, I didn't care for that one much. I got to get back to that other one. That looks like the commercial.
That's a Coke commercial.
Yeah. We'd like to teach the world to sing
in perfect harmony.
That's back when they did Dolly Madison commercials too for
Yeah.
the Peanuts. We can't forget the Peanuts.
Peanut.
I mean, come
Mr.
on, the
Peanut.
Peanuts. No, not Mr. Peanuts. Snoopy and the Peanuts.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
a big
Okay.
part of our growing up.
Oh, God, yes.
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Woodstock,
Yeah,
Lucy,
yeah,
Linus,
yeah. Pigpen.
Pigpen.
The Great Pumpkin.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
You know, and then all of those, if you know, remember this, part of your past, every time you watched Charlie Brown, there was always Dolly Madison commercials
Yep.
with it.
Yep, because they were a sponsor of the Charlie Brown.
Or Kool-Aid. How many times did we have to watch the Kool-Aid pitcher crash through the wall? You know.
You know, I often wondered if he had a brain, because if he had a brain,
Then
he'd
he
get a
wouldn't go
concussion
crashing
right
off
now.
those walls. Right? Many concussion, brain damage. The Munsters. That was a big show from our time.
There's so much. There's just so much from our time. Things
The
that
Partridge
were
Family,
awesome. I
the
mean,
Brady Bunch.
all these shows were freaking awesome. A lot of them. Oh, Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah,
I love that one.
Lauren Green.
Lauren Green.
Yeah.
And the guy that played Faceman.
Soap. This one was Soap here.
Yeah, that was an evening soap opera.
Yeah, but it was funny as fuck.
And it was called Soap.
Yeah, but it was funny as fuck. We'll hear, won't he? Find out next week.
Yep.
But when they casted this, they cast it all wrong too.
Yeah, they fucked that up so bad.
I mean, if you're gonna get somebody to cast it, you know, they should have got what's his name, Fez from that '70s show. Might have done a better job
Yeah.
on the Chips movie, but they had to still write it right, you know.
Yeah, they would have. They needed the
Well,
proper writer and everything, and
That
they.
Fez guy isn't so fucked up like he was from that '70s show. He's a lot better actor than I've seen him in the new NCIS's. Tattoo.
Tattoo.
Here we go. Can't forget this one. How many times did you hear "Kiss My Grits"?
Oh yeah. Alice.
Alice.
Right? Yeah, Alice.
And
Actually, that became a catchphrase.
Yeah, "Kiss My Grits" became a catchphrase, and
Yep.
that Polly Holiday, that's her name, that played Flo, ended up with her own TV series that was a spin-off of Alice.
Yep.
And it was called The Yellow Rose.
It didn't last long.
No, it didn't last long, but her catchphrase was such a big deal because of Alice, and the
Kiss
first
my
time she
grits.
told Mel to kiss her grits, that became such a huge catchphrase that they thought that because of her popularity, they would make more money doing a spin-off after Alice ended.
Unfortunately,
It didn't work for
didn't
too
work
long.
for
And
'em.
I don't even think it lasted a whole season.
And it's probably because they didn't have good writers.
Now this show, I
Charlie's
love that one.
Angels.
Charlie's Angels. They had replaced those angels, and every time they replaced
a
those
second here.
angels, those were the three original.
Yeah.
Kate Jackson, Farrah Fawcett, and
I can't quite remember.
Jacqueline Smith, Kate Jackson,
Farrah Fawcett.
and Farrah Fawcett.
Jacqueline Smith.
And then you had Cheryl Ladd replace Farrah Fawcett.
Yep.
And you had Wow. Now that I didn't know. There was a porn star in there that replaced one of them at one point.
Really?
Yeah. She's also on that 70s show, by the way. She played Bob's wife, Tanya Roberts. She was a porn star. She did softcore porn for a while.
Really?
Yes. Don't ask me how I know. No, it's from when I used to manage Box Office Video. They had a lot of that
Well,
porn stuff in there, so I recognized her name. She played
Mm-hmm.
Julie Rogers for 16 episodes from 1980 to 1981. Farrah Fawcett, Cheryl Ladd, Kate Jackson, Jacqueline Smith, Tanya Roberts, and there was one other one that was famous.
We got dead air going here.
Well, I can't remember who the other one was, but anyway, that poster she made,
Mm-hmm.
that was on my wall. That Farrah Fawcett poster, the famous one.
There was one that was.
Bewitched, or no, that was I
There
Dream
you
of
go.
Jeannie back there. Yeah, they were doing that's that 70s show cast as
Yeah.
Super Friends.
Yeah, and you got Jackie.
Those are the Wonder Twins.
Yep, that's the Wonder Twins. Fucking Robin, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
No, that's not Robin. He was Aquaman. There's no Robin there.
Oh, no Robin. Okay.
I remember that episode. Fez was Aquaman. And there's your Isis.
Yep. Good times. We probably should wrap this one up.
That's like a reunion type picture. Look at JJ Walker guy.
Oh, I know. Old.
Old as fuck there.
Probably is a reunion type.
And they don't
picture.
have the mom in that one.
Incredible Hulk.
That was a TV series from
Yes,
our
I
time.
know.
That was Amazing Spider-Man TV series.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they put so
That
many
70s
pictures
show
of that
in there.
70s show in there, but Hogan's Heroes.
Yep.
Oh, can't forget that one. Grizzly Adams.
Oh God.
You don't recognize Grizzly?
I never really watched it. Okay. I know
Lost
it was
in
a show.
Space.
Well, Lost in Space started in the '60s.
Yeah, but it was going on the 70s pretty strong too. Reruns. I mean, we watched a lot of reruns. We did.
Oh, yeah.
When we were growing up, there was reruns, lots of them. But there was some
Anyway.
good TV, and it sucks nowadays.
Some
For
of it
kids.
does. Some of it
For
is good.
kids.
Some of it sucks.
It sucks
Yeah,
for kids
we'll let
nowadays.
her in a minute. I think we should probably,
Yeah,
Probably get
it
ready to
sucks
wrap
for
this
kids
up.
nowadays. You know,
we had.
there is some good TV,
It
not a
is-
lot of it.
It's fun. It's fun to reminisce, but
Yep.
a lot of times when you reminisce, you start missing a lot of what
Yeah,
you
but at
used to
least the
have.
TV shows and stuff with things like YouTube and things like that, we sure can find some of it nowadays.
Yeah,
Not all
long
of it,
as-
unfortunately.
as long as people post it.
Netflix has been bringing back some of the old stuff once in a while.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if you've.
But Hulu, they need to get their act together. They had a lot of cool old shows on there, but none of it's complete.
I don't know if you have watched any of the Lost in Space that Netflix redid,
No, I haven't.
but you should. It's really good.
I haven't watched a lot of the new Netflix originals yet. The only ones that I've really been watching are ones that would put me to sleep, so
Anyway.
I can go to bed when I watch Netflix. But TV's not the same.
No, it's not.
Movies aren't the same.
No. Although the superhero movies.
And
are
I
taking
miss,
their-
and
they're
you know,
doing
even
well.
as an adult, I still miss Saturday morning cartoons.
So do I.
All right.
All right, we'll
Let's
call
till
on
next
this
time.
a quit, and we'll talk to you guys
Next week.
next week, and Hopefully, we won't have any events that we have to go to and kind of goof things up a little, but
We'll get her done. We always
anyway. What? What was that face for? No, wait, we're not done yet.
We have Janice's gender reveal next Saturday at 2 p.m.
Well, fine, she can reveal it on the show.
do. Yeah.
It's not here.
Oh, wow.
Whatever.
It's in Fort Atkinson.
Alright, well, until next week, we'll see you guys later.
We'll
Bye.
take the show to Fort Atkinson then.
That's all, folks.